Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to my friend. He is a two-time Ace Submission Grappling champion. He is a two-time Epic Fighting champion, and he is a one-time California State title holder. In addition to that, he is a Barret Yoshida brown belt.
Purple belt.
Purple? Oh,
Purple,
somebody said brown. My bad.
No, I'm a brown belt in judo.
Oh, brown belt in judo. So that's another one. But he's the one and only Tyler VanKill. Tyler, what's up?
No, not much, bro. Not much.
It's been a long time.
It has, man. Yeah, it has.
I happened to be there covering the weigh-ins for your what was to be an epic title fight. Pardon the pun, but it was an epic title fight, right? You were there to support one of your teammates who's cutting weight, and this is I use your story as kind of a rubric, right, for just staying ready for anything that might come your way, because you came in to support your teammate. And
no, I was supposed to fight someone else. I was supposed to fight. I was supposed to fight that night, but I was supposed to fight at 165. Yeah, and then I apparently got hurt on his bike on the way to weigh-ins or something like that. But the night before weigh-ins, he got hurt on his bike and couldn't fight. And the only other available fight was at 185 for the title. So I just said, yeah.
That's not a bad deal, right? Like,
no.
and you were supposed to fight at a lower weight, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight at 165. And because of the way the weigh-ins are done in California, it's same day weigh-ins for amateurs, as you know. So, like, Thursday night, I got a phone call from Coach Chuck from the arena saying basically, like, yeah, your dude fell out. He fell off his bike, but they got to fight for you at 185 because the guy he was supposed to fight was in the Navy, and he ended up getting called out in the Navy, and that fight fell through as well. Amateur fights, right? So there was two fights, and I just said, yeah, I'll fight it, whatever. And you know, Coach Chuck was like, good, because I already said yes.
Well, shout out to Charles Martinez at the Arena MMA in San Diego. But it's kind of fun, right? Because, like, I mean, you are working towards, by all intents and purposes, a California State title fight, because that is kind of the crown jewel in amateur MMA here in Southern California, you know, at the time that you were still living here, you know, and that was it. So you were kind of like working towards it, you know, in your kind of almost King Midas, everything that you're touching turning to gold. You had already amassed an epic title in your own right before that, and then you get this opportunity, this unique opportunity where a lot of gyms, a lot of fighters, they end up turning pro because maybe their visions of California State title championship gold either turns awry or what have you, and you made good on it.
Yeah, it was kind of just perfect kind of circumstances for me, you know. Like I've been trying to fight at those lighter weights, and that fight just came up. That was in February of 2018. That fight just came up, and because I said yes, and I was willing to fight somebody 20 pounds heavier than me, you know. That's the only reason why that happened, you know. Like, either that fight doesn't happen or I just nut up and fight somebody bigger than me, you know. And like I said that night, the arena doesn't raise bitches, so we just took the fight, and that just, you know, I was just better at that guy than at jiu-jitsu, you know. So it's like he didn't see what was coming. He was a wrestler that just took me down whenever he was getting punched in his face, you know. So and then he just didn't know what was up. So
I think that's absolutely fun. That's super fun. But I mean,
I think in the area though, like I think in the San Diego area, I had already shown that at 170 I was in the picture anyway, right? So that like I said, like that 85 title was just like a kind of like GSP, you know, as the Canadian in the area, one and done at middleweight, you know what I mean, for the title. So, so that was just kind of that. But I mean, as far as the welterweight title, I think everybody already knew I was going to go after that anyway. Right. So I mean, you know, and then when Javon had won the title, it was kind of like awkward-ish because we were already friends, and then like, you know what I mean, like. We kind of just knew that like there was always that little awkwardness between us where it's like kind of just looking like he's good, I'm good. We both fight in the same weight class. Like we're going to fight each other eventually. But we had trained together. We rolled together like Sundays and stuff. Like it's just, it is what it is, right? Like when you fight. So, and I kind of always knew that I'd end up fighting him for a title. I didn't know it would be for both at the same time, which was pretty dope. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know that. You know, and shout out to Javon Matthews, who's
Javon
been
Coleman.
on this. Coleman. Why did I say Matthews? Yeah. You know what? I did that the other time too. When he was actually on the podcast, I'm like, why is Matthews? I don't know, but yes, shout out to Javon Coleman because he, in his own right, is a former epic fighting champion and. You know, is I believe he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu over at XL. So
he got his black belt actually.
Did he? Yes. You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell my mind is at. Yeah, but shout out to him.
Black belt. No, he's been a brown belt for a minute. He just got promoted to black belt like not very long ago. Yeah, under Michio Grubbs.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, Don McGuire over on Facebook saying, "What's up, gentlemen? What's good, Don McGuire?" And shout out to Don McGuire and the Fighter's Voice. Absolutely. So, I mean, obviously those nights, those special nights in your career at Epic Fighting, I mean, that wasn't the beginning of your career. So I want to know, like, how did you get involved in combat sports?
I mean, my mom's a black belt in judo. She had, like, I had grown up with my siblings doing judo. And, once I was it's just weird. I didn't even start training as an adult until I moved to Phoenix from Canada, like till I moved to the States. So it's like I just did judo when I was a kid and then kind of went away from it as I got to be like in my teens and stuff. And then like when I started training as an adult in the States, I just like, I was all about it. Like I've always loved to fight and just like in that way, right? Like, I don't like to just street fight people because like I'm genuinely kind of like nice. I don't like to just like pick on people because I got kind of bullied when I was a kid. Right. So like in that sense, I don't just like to fight people because like you never know what they're going through. But I've always liked the idea of combat sports. Like Royce Gracie, when I saw that fool in a gi and like in like UFC 1 and shit, I was like, oh, he's in a gi. That's awesome. Because I wore a gi and stuff. And like it was just, I resonated that with like, him. And I just like, I was hooked. I had the first 4 UFCs on box set. It was awesome.
That's sick. That's so sick. Now, obviously, I mean, for those who don't know, I mean, you grew up on Prince Edward Island.
That's something that's craziest about it because like I'm from this small, tiny little place with like 300 to 400 people. On like this tiny island that nobody's heard of, and like I've always grown up. And like I'll watch movies and I'll be like, man, I wish I was from California. Like, fuck, if I was only from California, like I'd be able to be like in movies and like, I've always wanted like, it's just like this little thing, right? Because you're from the middle of nowhere, bro. Like I grew up across the street from a potato field. Like, you know what I mean? And like, so like to be in California, like every time I'd be driving, I'd see palm trees, and I was like. Like it never got old. And like, I remember one time whenever I was working, I was doing turf and I pulled an orange off a tree and peeled it and ate it. And it was like the craziest thing to me because these don't have oranges, you know, like and pomegranates. I ganked a bunch of pomegranates from this tree one time.
Yeah, it's a lot different than growing up in a across the road from a potato field, which
dude,
I gotta ask. I mean, are you a fan of the poutine?
Oh, the poutine. Poutine it's the thing. It's the deal. But you got to do it right though. You got to have deep fried fries, not baked, and you got to use real cheese curds, not like, I mean, you can do like ghetto poutine and like just use regular shredded cheese, but it melts and turns like liquid into the gravy, so it doesn't keep its consistency. It's all about the cheese curds.
See, the more you know here
The
at
more you
According to
know.
Woods. I'm just saying. Don McGuire says he was a photographer at the UFC 3, so that's dope. So
That is awesome.
damn.
UFC 3 was actually won by an alternate, that dude from Minnesota. He's a cop.
Yeah.
It was I'm pretty sure it was when Hoist beat Chemo.
Right.
But he was hurt, and then they did that alternate, and it was
Yes.
that cop from Minnesota that won, ended up winning the whole thing.
Oh, those were the days. Good Lord. You know, fights in one night, alternates. And it's funny because like when Chandler came over to the UFC and he wanted to have him as an alternate, you know, for obviously Gaethje and Habib, you know, those were like, supposed MMA purists were like, oh, you can't do that. You like alternate, like whatever. But that is actually a tipping of the hat to the UFC of old.
Yeah, you got to have somebody on go ready to make the show go on, right? I didn't even know they did that, to be honest with you. I didn't even know they did that until the UFC in Edmonton, because I went there to help my friend, and Volkanovski was there cutting weight. It was when Holloway fought Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
And Volkanovski was there cutting weight. I didn't even know, like, honestly, I didn't know that they did that. And it's a really cool thing. Like, it makes sense. Like, have somebody for sure, like, you're the alternate for this fight, so the show will work.
Yeah.
Because it was the main event. And yeah, it was like one of those things where it's like, yeah, obviously that makes sense. They pay him to make weight so that, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, obviously, I mean, when you talked about your mom's kind of iteration of, you know, being involved in judo, but was that in Prince Edward Island, or did you guys have to venture out?
Yeah, no, it was in the boonies, like out by my house. Like where I lived, there was like not very many people, and then where we did judo, there was less people. You would drive like 15 minutes and get to like the gym at the St. Teresa's school. Yeah.
Wow.
And we would get there, and because my mom was the black belt, myself, my brother, and my two sisters, we would have to jump up on the stage, and we'd have to lay down all the tatami mats, and we'd have to put them all down. Me and my three siblings would have to set up the whole gym mats, and then when practice was over, we'd have to throw them back up on the stage and stack them all.
What?
Yeah.
But those are, I mean, those are very, you know, looking back on it, right? Like, even in my instance, I remember there was a time where I was training at Fight Academy in Pasadena, California, and I got to speak with Herb Dean, right? And I was like, hey, how do you get involved in it? You know, I don't know if I want to fight. I don't know if I want to referee. I just want to be involved. And he was just like, do everything. Train, obviously. But I mean, if you're at a show, you get there early, even though you paid a ticket. You know, see if you can help out, set up chairs, help build the ring. Like, just offer your services, because you never know when an opportunity might present itself. One, but also it's giving back to the sport.
100%. And if you want to get involved in anything, man, anything, like, just show people that you'll show up and work hard, and you'll be at the top of the list as long as you just do that consistently. Yeah. Like, people ask me all the time, man, like, it's a little bit different here because, like, the market's different. There's less people. Like, San Diego's like very transient. There's people that are there all the time, always coming in with the Navy and, like, you know, the military presence, and just the fact that it's such an awesome place to be, because, you know, there's people from all over the country that go there.
Right.
When all those waitresses bust out of being an actress, they just go to San Diego for a chill life.
Hey,
you know?
But actually, it was somebody. God, why am I blanking on her name? But I had a gal on. She's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu now, much like yourself. But she left. Rebecca Mattinson. There it is. But Rebecca Madison was from a town like 40 minutes outside of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And she was just like, she found jujitsu at like her university,
Yeah.
whatever. And then she was just like, I got to do more. So she got a teardrop trailer, and basically went down to San Diego with like less than $2,000 to her name, lived in her teardrop trailer, trained at Aitos,
I
and
think I
whatever.
met her actually. Yeah, I think I met that chick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. She came to the arena one time with some of the guys from Atos, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I mean, but that's the thing. And I mean, did you, especially with your mom, being involved in combat sports and so deeply as a black belt, she's carrying the esteem of the entire discipline of judo on her back, especially synonymous for a town and a island so small as yours, right? And
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
essentially the face of judo and Prince Edward Island, right? So did
Well,
you
not quite. Like
okay.
she taught under her black belt instructor. He was the face. He passed away. His name was John Wilbert. Like he was the face of PEI judo and always was. And my mom was one of his black belts. And then like that was in Charlottetown, the capital, and we lived about half an hour outside the capital, like in that small town, little village Morel. And my mom taught like his judo essentially. It's kind of like what I'm doing with Barret, right? Like Barrett's the guy, and then I go and now I'm teaching like the gi here under him kind of thing, right? So that's what my mom was doing. She was teaching in the area, kind of thing, right? And then he would come out frequently to show and teach as well. So it was pretty cool. But I mean, it was awesome too because we were allowed to like me and my siblings. We were just like it got on because we
Yeah,
were allowed to.
yeah.
Girls
Which
are mean though, bro. I'll tell you that right now. Girls are mean. At that age, they don't care. They're coming for
no,
the kill.
no, it's reckless abandon. That's that it's reckless youth, as they say, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't know your limitations until you actually hit them, right? So I gotta know, was the path always to kind of follow your mom's footsteps in basically going into combat sports, or was there a little bit of
I had
kind
no
of
idea.
static?
I had no idea. We left. I left training like I was like low key like if we're being honest, like I was like a real bad drug addict in high school. Like it was bad. I just didn't care about anything but getting
No.
high on like pills and like I would snort anything. Like it was just that's all I cared about. I was just headed down a bad path. Two of my best friends from high school and childhood were both passed away from overdose. Like it's just
Wow.
like I said, like being in that small town and everything, like there's not much to do. And then there's a lot of drug addiction and there's a lot of that stuff that's I mean, like just you're in the country with like 300 people and there's not really work for most of the year because it snows so heavy and things like that. So there's a lot of drug addiction and kind of got caught up in that as well. And my dad was pretty abusive to me as a kid as well. So like it was a messed up time in my life. And I wasn't like good. I was a terrible person. And it's like, but I was, like I have like in one respect a great home life because my mom is amazing. She always loved me, but like behind closed doors, right? Like it's just one of those things where you never know what's kind of really going on. And I was a kid, so it's like, you know what I mean? You don't know what to do. So like that kind of stuff bred a whole darker part that I was on. And then, I had moved, I had traveled a little bit, I had done some stuff, but like there's a program in Canada called Katimovik, and it's like a 9-month volunteer program where you can travel across the country. You do work for nonprofits. It was government funded at the time. I'm not 100% sure if it's still going, but like it was from like 17 to 21-year-olds. It was government funded. Like so, like I went from PEI. I lived in British Columbia, so I moved to the other side of the country for 3 months, and I worked in an after-school program for kids. And during the day, it was an old school. it was a nonprofit, so it rented out the rooms to people for. There was like a computer lab, and there was after school programs and certain things like that. So I worked there for 3 months, and then I moved to Moosonee, Ontario, which is super far north. The only way you can get there is by airplane or train. It's like a fly-in place. And I was an assistant teacher in a junior kindergarten class. And then I moved to Quebec, and that's I lived like it was a place called Rivière-du-Loup, and it's like 2 hours outside of Quebec City. And I was a counselor in a day camp for 3 months. So it's like a 9-month program. You do all this volunteer work, 40 hours a week. You get paid $3 a day. You get an allowance, $21 every week, but your food's paid for, your housing's paid for. Like, you know what I mean? So you're not hurting. You just, if you don't have your own cash, like I didn't, because whenever I went to this program, I was like, my mom was fed up because like she had tried to take me to some rehab programs that weren't like, it wasn't inpatient. Like I wasn't admitted, right? But like she was taking me to these drug counselor meetings and stuff, but like it didn't matter because I didn't care, you know? So like, there was just like in my first like month in there, I was like kind of detoxing a little bit and stuff, but then like working with these people and having a clearer head over this amount of time, like kind of showed me a different path that I wanted to be on. And when I got home 9 months later, like all my friends and everybody were still just doing the exact same things, you know, and I was like kind of over it. And I had kind of learned a new language in the time because I was English. I'm an English kid. My whole family's English, like, you know, and then I had kind of learned to speak French in a short amount of time there. And so like, and then I moved to Quebec for a little bit more with this girl that I was kind of dating. And then we broke up and I went back to PEI, and I wanted more than the island, right? So I moved out west, and that's where I met my wife. And that's just where my whole life changed for the better. And that's kind of where I became who I am, you know?
I think that's really awesome. And especially, you know, stories like that, you know, they mean so much more now. Obviously, the time that we're kind of all in, you know, 2020 and going into 2021, you essentially turning a whole new leaf in terms of, you know, you could have been a statistic. There were a lot of things where you could have just kind of, pardon the pun, but like rolled over and died, and you chose, and you chose to fight.
Exactly, you know, and that's the thing. Like I met my wife, and she kind of helped me with that, right? Because I was still kind of a bum loser, like to a degree, you know. And then she really instilled that extra, like she made me realize what I was worth is really what it was, you know. And that's huge. Yeah. It's huge because like there's so many people that you see bumming for money on the corner and things like that, and it's just wasted potential, man. Because they got caught up in the wrong situation. They didn't have somebody like my wife to pull me out of it. Like I could be that for sure. I have that tendency in me to this day still. You know what I mean? So it's like, that could still be me. And I don't ever forget that. And that's the biggest difference, is that like some people just don't get pulled out of it. My friend Tony didn't, my friend Nathan didn't. And that's just the facts. They get lost up in it. Tony was almost clean and he just relapsed. And the relapse had too much fentanyl in it and it killed him. So it's like, it just takes that. And that's, you know, I'm just lucky that she saved me. And I was able to realize my potential to a degree.
That's incredible. Do you ever kind of look back in retrospect, if your mom hadn't put you in that program, if you haven't traveled to the places and given the responsibility over kids and kind of like just leaving it all to a whole new place, meeting your wife, like, do you ever imagine what would happen?
Yeah, man, I sit back and I reflect all the time. I really feel like not enough people do enough like introspective reflection, because like it's all about what like people want now, but like what you want may not be what you need. And what you need may not be what you want. Like, you know, admitting fault and admitting wrong and being able to like apologize to somebody and say like, you know what, man, I was the dick in that situation, and just take it full on the chin. Less and less people are willing to do that lately. It just creates like more bullshit.
No, absolutely. Fucking that's it, you know? It's and even when you're doing good, right? To reflect, right? Because at times when you're just kind of going and looking for the next hill to climb or whatever that may be, you don't understand fully all of the hardships that, you went through to essentially get you here, So,
Dude,
and
yeah,
even the
that's
good,
the crazy.
yeah, even the good
I
shit.
love thinking about it. I love thinking about it, dude. Because I told somebody the other day, I recently started driving for Purelator, and some days you show up and there's just like a mountain of shit there, right?
Yeah,
And you gotta load all that stuff on your trunk, and you gotta make sure it gets to where it's going, and you gotta
yeah,
make sure this and that, right? So somebody looks at me and goes, "Oh man, that's gotta suck. Like, are you stressed?" And I was like, "Nah, man, I'm not stressed." I was like, "I lived 2 years illegal in." I was like, "I drove in. I lived in Arizona for 2 years with uh, expired license, expired plates, no insurance, no registration, with Canadian expired plates. They were Canadian." And I didn't have no insurance, no registration. That shit had all lapsed, and I couldn't like redo it. I was living like illegal. I didn't have no papers. I didn't have like all that kind of stuff. Like we were in the like, bro. And then you ask me if I'm stressed about a job that I'm going to get paid for. I live that Mojave Norteño life, bro.
it's keeping that shit all into perspective, though, right? That's
Yeah.
what keeps you sane. That keeps you
Like
alive.
I used to live driving around. If I saw like a cop or border patrol, my booty hole puckered, bro. Like, I think he went that way, officer. Just
And
on
it's
my way to get some Pabst Blue Ribbon. Voted best in America in 1893. God damn it.
and I
Put
think
that
that's
accent on
amazing,
real
right?
quick.
You're you're
Yeah.
you're kind of like dodging immigration and INS and everything like that in Arizona, but it's a different border that they were going to send you back over to.
Yeah. Yeah. Northern. That's why they call me Mojave Norteño. And when I lived in Arizona, they called me a frost-back instead of a wetback.
because
I swear to
because of
God,
Canada.
they
Yes.
called me they called me Frosty. That was my nickname. Yeah.
That's well, it kind of there was a I can't remember what, but like here in the States we had like this. I mean, we perpetually have like border discussions and debates, and it absolutely goes nowhere or whatever,
Side.
right? Right. And I remember he might have been a congressperson or somebody in Senate or Congress or whatever. It was like pulling out pictures of people, like British people. Does he look like an immigrant? He pulled out a picture of Bieber. Does he
Yeah.
look like an
Yeah.
immigrant? Like, what is it? And I think it was like that Arizona law where like if you look like an immigrant, we're gonna pull you over and whatever. And he was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah. The Joe Arpaio one. I lived there around that time, man. That was
no
crazy.
way.
I did. Yeah, I lived there around that time. That was the crazy thing, dude. Like the whole when Joe Arpaio was like in there and
Yes.
getting like elected and all that stuff. Because
Yeah.
I moved to Phoenix in 2012, and I lived
Whoa.
there until like the end of 2014. We moved to San Diego like August 30th of 2015.
Wow. Man, that's a
Yeah.
different type of heat. My goodness. I mean, Arpaio, Sheriff Joe was like having people in tents and a chain gang and
They had
make him
Tent
dress in
City
making him
in
dress
pink.
in pink jumpsuits and all. Like just
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah.
I guess America.
Arizona's a great place, man. It's funny, but like, yeah, we had to leave just because it was a little too intense for my Canadian blood, maybe.
10 points. 10 points. Oh, Canada. I'm just saying, thank goodness you're tempered, even tempered selves you are borders to the north because,
No, bro, no, I'd be lying if I said I was even tempered. And if people like, there'll be people that will see this and be like, even tempered my ass. I'm a hothead. Everybody knows that. I'm emotional. I'm a hothead. I speak before I think. I'm always truly sorry, and we'll get like, bro hugs and stuff. But like, punches may have been thrown.
there you go. There you go. So you fit here with us Yanks pretty well then.
To a degree, yeah. It's so crazy. I come like I'm a Canadian American because like I didn't start training MMA, and like who I am is a fighter, and I didn't start training until I moved to the States. So it's like so much of my growth as a person. Like I moved to the States, I think when I was like I was like 24, 26 or something.
Right.
No, I was 24 because I turned 25 in Phoenix. I remember my 25th birthday, I think, was in Phoenix. So I could be way off on the math, though. I'm not a scientist. So
sounds about right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, abacus and stuff is around there. So totally lost where I was at.
Abacus. Oh, Oh, yes, abacus.
But yeah, like so much of my development was done in the States and with Americans and you know, a lot of actually like Mexican Americans, because I resonated more with more immigrants, because like it didn't matter that I'm Canadian. It didn't matter that I'm white, rather, because I'm still Canadian. Right. I'm not American. I'm not American. And that's the biggest thing, is I'm not American. So they'd be like, "You're Canadian? Go back to Canada." And I was like, "Fine." Well, like then I did. But I was sad about it. I didn't want to. We kind of had to.
You would have won like maple syrup debates, like bar none. I mean, mine is better than yours. I mean, you couldn't do anything by way of like hot sauce, but you could like our maple syrup is way better than yours. That's what I would have went with. That would be my soapbox.
The thing is, Canadian beer is known for being better, but everybody in San Diego always laughed at me because it's like craft beer there. So they always laugh. They're like, "Canadian beer is not better than San Diego beer. It's the best beer in the world." Have you had my Pilsner? I don't even know craft beer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the IPAs, right? That's a big thing. The IPAs, the IPA.
Oh yeah, the IPA. Yeah. My stouty dark IPA.
Yeah.
I'm not good. I don't even really drink anymore.
You can't be a badass and also be snobby about alcoholic beverages. Like that's a weird one. I'm
telling you, son. Pabst Blue Ribbon, about the best in America in 1893.
Yes. Oh, PBR, yeah, Pabst. Oh, that's good. Oh, here's the funny thing. Honest to goodness. So I grew up in Inglewood, right, in California, right? But my mom is from Fiji. My dad is from Indiana, and we moved all around, like all over the place, right? When I was growing up, so I had a weird, like British Commonwealth, a bit of, maybe of my dad's Midwestern kind of twanginess, as well as just, so people just thought I was like Carlton from Fresh Prince, right? So I was just like, "No, I'm from Fiji," and they'd be like, "Oh, like the apple," and I was like, "No, that's Fuji, wrong island. That's Japan, whatever." And I got so sick of telling people that I'm a pro wrestling fan, right? So I went the Hearts, right? I'm not like whitewashed. Basically, I'm Canadian, right? And I started over enunciating, like, "What are you talking about?" And Dunkin' Donuts, boo. Let's get some Tim Hortons and yeah. Oh my goodness! Like, you want to talk about beer? You want to do Corona? Let's go with Molson's, eh?
Molson's, eh?
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's still people 15 some odd years later that's still like, "Hey, the Canadian." I'm like, nah, dude. Like,
people would ask me my ethnicity growing up and stuff, and I would tell them that I'm Irish. Nah, they would tell me nah. They'll think I'm East Indian or like Lebanese or Syrian a lot of the time, and I'll tell them, "No, I'm Irish. There's such thing as the Black Irish. It's."
Phil Lynott, Thin Lizzy.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
That dude was a 7-foot Irish black dude that sang better, like, hard rock than a lot of Americans.
I know.
Just saying, the boys are back in town, is what I'm saying.
But people would tell me no all the time. It wasn't until I was finally sick of it. I'm like, "I'm just kidding. I'm Italian." They're like, "Oh, I see it." Yeah. So it's like, instead of arguing with people, I once had, and this is kind of funny, I once had a chick from like a Lebanese chick come up and just start speaking Arabic to me, and I was like, "No, I got nothing." Like, I speak English and French. I don't know what's going on. She's like, "Oh, you don't speak?" And I was like, "What do you mean I don't speak?" she was more ashamed that I didn't speak Arabic because she was still assuming that I was Syrian.
Right. There you go. I mean,
No, that's funny though.
so I mean, from Arizona to, I mean, were you actually
I mean,
training in Arizona when you were down there, or were you just living?
yeah, I started at Arizona Combat Sports. Yeah,
Really?
with like Trevor Lally,
Yeah.
Jamison White, Steve Rosenberg teaches the jiu-jitsu down there. He's a Gustavo Dantas black belt.
Yes.
He teaches out of there now though. But that's where I had started. I was there for the first year and a half or whatever. Um,
Really?
yeah, and then I was at this other place for like a little bit beforehand, but it was just kind of like it was a weird situation. He's a black belt now, but like he was a purple belt at the time, but he had got his black belt from somebody that wasn't legit, not his fault.
Right.
But like the dude, like Roland Soria, kind of like promoted himself to like black belts. Is what I heard. He was like a Hickson brown belt or something. He used to own Rage in the Cage, that promotion out of Arizona where everybody fought. Like back in the day, it was pretty big. Yeah. But that's what he was. So he, I guess, promoted himself like kind of the black belt, but then he had started promoting other people to black belt. So it was just like not legit kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But then like they were kind of like an affiliate of Novo and Yao at the time, and then like, but it's just like it was just like such a weird.
It gets
you know
weird.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there was like a whole bunch of, but I had done a couple of smokers whenever my first ever MMA fight was out of that gym. I had fought at the Fort McDowell Casino.
Whoa.
And I fought a guy from Power MMA.
What?
And it was just, yeah, his name was Chris Collins. He was from Power MMA. And it was at 185 because I used to be 230 pounds. Lost a bunch of weight when I started training. The picture that I recently posted a picture whenever I was big.
Yeah, you don't even look like the same dude.
So that was at the first gym that I did whenever I fought that Chris Collins guy. That's when I was there, and I cut weight to 185. And then so then I eventually had just left that gym because it was like it was just like a whole weird situation or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I just went over to ACS, which was like they had guys in the UFC, and that's the plan that I wanted to be on. So I was just like, let's do this. And then I was there for like a year, and then we just decided to move to California. And that's when I first moved to California, I trained at Victory for like 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. But it just wasn't the vibe that I was looking for. It was different. They catered to a different group of people at that time. They had a fight team, but it was just weird. They had a juice bar. And like, I did a couple kickboxing classes, and it was just like, it just wasn't my feel. Classes were just at a different time too. It was hard for me to hit like multiple times a day or whatever. But then I went over to the arena, and it was just like, kind of like when you walk into a place and you just know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Talk to Liera Senior, Mike, and it was just, he showed me around. It was just worked. Just felt it. Jamar Coleman was working the front desk, and he had been cracking jokes like he just does, right? Like it just doesn't matter who walks in. Jamar's just being Jamar, and I got such a kick out of it, and I kind of chimed in a couple times, and it was just like, I was like, this is it. Let's do this. And then we did.
Now, obviously, you're one who, I mean, you've got a cool vibe about you, but you're one who basically reacts and responds to people's different vibes, right? So a lot of people, just because you can train at a world-class gym doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right vibe for you, right? So how important, when you finally stepped in, right? You're coming in with, some Arizona Combat Academy stuff. You're coming in from, your lineage of your mom and what you used to do with your brother, growing up. You're coming with all that stuff, right? But then to make it all right, where you're around either like-minded people or people that are so different from you, but can help you kind of fine-tune your strengths and also improve your weaknesses.
I just, like, there's like a formula that that they like that period of time in my life that was just figured out almost like for me, like Mike did such a good job putting the gym together with the ownership and everything, and like making sure all the right people were in all the right places. Like all I had to do was show up. Like that's like and just work hard. Like I said earlier, like that's all you had to do is just be there. If you can't learn something from having like Charles Martinez, Vince Salvador, Joe Vargas, Bashir Abdullah, Barry Yoshida, Chris Lieben, Jesse Taylor, like teaching you all the time, Ryan Fortin, even like Coach Joe Vargas' son, Gordo, like he's now like one of the guys coaching everybody like ground up kind of same thing, like, and he will work with me too. So it's like everywhere there's somebody to turn to like learn super high level stuff, like, and then the training, like Sergi, like the team that came with Barret when he came, because Barret wasn't even there whenever I first went there. It was like one of his black belts based, it was still just as awesome. And Jake Mapes, Jake was there the whole time until he opened up his own school, which I mean obviously makes sense. He's super awesome. Yeah. But just like there's just so many good people there. All you had to do was show up. So, and they're so much smarter than me that why would I list like anything that I learned before in like judo? I would just take the stuff that I knew like from ACS or from my mom's judo. That was like when I was a kid. So that was just like the judo stuff had basically given me the ability to learn how to like grapple faster.
Right.
Because I already had the basics at such a young age. It was second nature, bridging, like certain things, right? Like I just understood concepts better, faster as an adult because I had such a base as a kid. But like all the other stuff I would just accommodate for my body and try to figure out. But like the coaching staff was just really to blame for what I am now. Yeah, and then that's the reason why, like whenever I had to leave the States, that's why I picked Kelowna, was for the gym. Like I did research. It was either Montreal for TriStar,
right,
or Kelowna for Toshido. And I mean, people can say what they want, no disrespect. It was just my choice, my decision, my thought process was that I looked at the coach's resume as to who they built from their own system, like from their own system all the way up into the UFC. And Coach Dave has a better record, in my opinion. GSP was the reason why TriStar was such a huge thing, right? But like I said again, no disrespect to anybody, but like you look at like Ronda Rousey, that made Edmund famous, but like Edmund's not pumping out fighters.
Right.
And the same can kind of be said. Like a lot of these fighters are going, already established fighters, going to TriStar to work with GSP and then stayed there and then fight at a TriStar. But like being built up out of there wasn't the same. So that's why I decided Kelowna and Coach Dave, because, and every like fight records of the people, like shortly after I got here, we held 4 belts in the same organization.
Whoa.
Yeah. Bantamweight, was it? That was bantamweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight.
Damn.
XFFC, pro promotion, all pro belts. So like that's the thing, right? Like I'm leaving a place where I have to go to then find the same type of energy. And Dave's legit. Dave is legit. He was the like Dave's like Toshido MMA is where Rory McDonald came up.
Right, absolutely.
So like that's who Dave is, and that's what he does with all like all of the fighters. It's the same type of thing, right? So I have to find the same type of passion and the same type of instruction, obviously, for and the same vibe. And I was just totally right. Like I come in here, it's the same type of thing, right? Like they're not trying to kill me, but they're trying to knock my head off in the way that like shows me not to get my head knocked off. You know what I mean? Like I'm working with like Steve McDonald, who's fighting for Bellator coming up here. and he's a light heavyweight. He could destroy me if he wants, and kind of sometimes does. But you know, it's the type of thing where it's like you can't say, "Oh man, you're so strong," because he is, but like it's also super technical. So it's like he's not rolling in on a knee bar or on me because he's strong.
No, yeah, 100%. Now,
So
I mean, you're managing to hold your own, at Toshido, right? And you during your time there, and it's crazy because you amass quite a bit of gold, at the arena, right? But you essentially ended up doing the same in grappling for Toshido. I mean, Ace
yeah,
Submission.
I'm just trying to. It's Drew Weatherhead runs that tournament. It's a pretty dope tournament. It's the absolute division there. Every absolute winner gets a belt. So I've won the purple belt absolute division twice. So you enter the tournament, you do the absolute division, you win a belt. So that's all that is. Like, so it's this is super dope to have super dope belts.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I mean,
I've done mostly grappling here just because it's been kind of COVID, kind of not, but like hard to find a fight. I was supposed to fight for FLA in the East Coast back home in February before COVID, but that all fell apart like the week of. Dude was like, it was just the dumbest shit ever. The guy was supposed to fight, like apparently fell off a ladder 3 months before the fight and couldn't fight, sprained his ankle or something. Who knows? Yeah. And then the other guy was supposed to fight. He didn't even put in his medicals. It's like he said he was doing everything. He posted pictures of him waiting in line to get his medicals. Didn't post them. Didn't do anything. And then the fight just fell off. And then he fought for a different promotion a couple weeks later and got choked out. Like, bro, you were gonna get choked out anyway. Why not let me do it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny.
So
Now, here's a cool comment. Tristan Weed says, Evelyn says, you're the best uncle ever.
Well,
ever.
Uncle Tiger.
There you go. I love it. No, it's funny, right? Because
my brother and my niece.
Oh, shout out to Tristan and Evelyn. But it's kind of funny, right? Because I mean, not to say that like Instagram and social media fighters, those don't exist, do they? Like that doesn't happen, right?
It's funny. Barret used to always like he has this theory. It's like everybody there's certain people. I shouldn't say everybody. There's certain people they want to be a fighter, but they want everything other than the fight. They want to be able to post about training hard and being a savage, and everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion stuff. And I'm a wolf and other animal,
reference. Yeah, insert animalistic reference here.
You know what I mean? But that's the thing. But then when it comes to actually show up and get punched in the face, oh, I fell off a ladder, or I got an infection, or I forgot how to walk, or I'm blind. Like, it's just, I've heard everything, man. It's just pathetic. I had five fights. No, was it 3 fights and 5 opponents fall out between February and August of 2018. And I haven't been able to even get a fight since I moved to Canada.
Wow.
And
I know why. I absolutely know why. They look you up and they can't even twist you into a pretzel because you're twisting your own damn self into a fucking pretzel.
I mean, I get it, but like, still. It is what it is, right? So it's like, it'll come.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Kind of not.
Yeah, you almost remind me a bit of a purple belt version of Ryan Hall, right? Where that guy can't get a fight because he's just so like what's gonna happen. He's gonna wrap you up in like 90 seconds, and you're not gonna know any fucking thing to do about it. Doesn't matter who you train with. It doesn't matter what you do. How much top pressure, bottom pressure, knockout power. Insert whatever skill set here, and Ryan Hall will just rip you to shreds.
Yeah. Yeah, like he did it to BJ Penn, like made him look like he didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I gotta. So the plan was to essentially fight, right? Get a fight under the new banner, right? And the new team,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
And that's
I
still
mean,
a goal. That's still a goal. Like right now, my teammates are going to be fighting on Rise 6 coming up here on March 13th, I believe it
okay,
is, here in BC. Um, you can watch that by downloading the Imagine BC app. There's a
nice product.
how-to on Rise's page, so make sure you check out my teammates because they're going to smash people's faces in.
Yeah, slick plug,
Um,
slick plug. Right on.
right. Um, but yeah, no, it's I was supposed to be fighting on that, but like with COVID and everything, and my wife is like 8 months pregnant right now, and so I'm about to have a kid right away. So with that, and like, you know, it's just I didn't want to take the risks. She's already high risk, like it's just not worth it, right? So like
Right.
the next fights that come up, I'll like my name will be in the hat for those. I'm gonna get training as soon as she's born, and it's on like Donkey Kong
Yeah. Yeah. You
because
got
I
to
want
keep.
to fight.
Yeah, but you got to take care of your home base first.
That's it. Priorities. And that's all it is. Like there will be other fights, but like there won't be another birth of my daughter and ass end of my wife's pregnancy that I have to make sure is cool. So that's where that is. Like, you know, there'll be pussies not willing to fight me in a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely. They can wait.
Yeah,
Your girls can't. So
that's it, right?
yeah,
Hashtag team girl dad.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it gonna be cool, right? Because the next time you step into the cage, you're gonna be a father, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
as you're training, you know, y- your daughter's gonna be pulling some stuff and all that, and the stuff that she could be pulling that may or may not be baby proof is one of Dero Dad's title belts. That puts a whole new level of competition, a level of threat in the hearts and the minds and the souls of your opponents.
yeah, it's definitely going to change things. I can already feel like it's weird because like I feel her moving in there, and like I wake her up some days in the morning before like you know it just it's weird, right? And there's so many people that have gone through it. It's just we've had to go through a little bit more to be able to have this kid, right? So 3 rounds of IVF, traveling to Mexico for this, like through the
Wow.
pandemic and everything. My wife had to go 2 times by herself because like we just couldn't afford for me to go with. You know what I mean? Like it is, but it's already an expensive procedure itself. And like again, she's the true champ. I just you know she had to put herself through a lot, and I just you know as I jokingly say to her sometimes, I get it, babe. I had to jizz in a cup.
That's it, though. That's it.
Yeah, she's got an alien growing inside of her, though.
Eh, Which, I mean, obviously, you've accomplished so much, so much, right, in your life, in your career, but this process that is completely different than fighting. In fighting, you listen to your coaches, you have a game plan set, but, the, the troubles that you guys went through, various pregnancies and everything, what has that done for you as a man, and the support system? I mean, usually she supports you in training camp and what have you, but basically, yin yanging the roles and you be her support.
Yeah, it's just that's just life, though, right? Like that's just like we've been married, we've been together like we're going on 14 years. So like she's my best friend, and that's just we're best friends, but like we're also married, so it's like that's just it's just there all the time for both of us, and it's us against the world. And like she doesn't even like fighting, but like she supports me,
Yeah.
and she's been to one of my fights, but like kind of like yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
know, um, but she likes it because I like it. She, and that's just support. So it's just that's where it's always been there, and we just always try to, reflect and see that. But like, it's helped me a ton in other things because like that shit is so emotionally draining.
Yeah.
And you learn how to get through it. You learn how to wake up the next day after a miscarriage and go to work.
Wow.
And you know what I mean? Like things like that. That kind of shit changes you as a person in that hardening way that when you were a kid, you would see your dad not getting teary-eyed or something at certain situations. It's just like things that harden you as a man kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
And that's just like when you've gone through certain things, and everybody's gone through stuff. So it's like, don't be selfishly motivated in those situations. But like when you have been through that stuff, if you can use it in the right way, a lot of people use it to feel bad for themselves. But if you can use it to drive yourself forward, you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like you use that hate, you put that hate in a better place, use it for a good purpose. It's fuel, but it can fuel a fire that burns down a forest, or it can fuel a fire that powers an engine.
Yes.
And that's just the difference, right? And that's where people need to look at things in a little bit of a different perspective. Like take the hate that's there. Yeah. Don't just let it be for nothing, but let it drive you to a place that you didn't think you could get to because of that hate, Like I said, when I was a kid, I got bullied. I got fucking picked on. I had to switch schools when I was in 7th grade because like there was times where 7 kids at a time would have balls and I'd be in the middle and they'd just be whiffing them at me.
Fuck.
I would get like, just like bullies being bullies, kids being kids, whatever. It got taken overboard and I just couldn't deal with life anymore. And like I said, I had a shitty kind of home life, so I couldn't go home. So, things like that. You never know what somebody's going through. But as an adult, if I just take all that crappy stuff that ever happened to me and I just feel bad about it, what am I going to become? Nothing but a sad sack, right? So you can take all that crap and motivate you to be better than every single person that ever doubted you. And that's what my daily motivation is. There's so many things that I hate about day-to-day crap that I don't want to do, but I do it because it makes me better than everybody else that doesn't do it. And I do it better than them. I do it better than people that think they like it, and I know I hate it. Like I said, in a post, and like recently, it's like Barret always says, how you do anything is how you do everything. If I got to clean a bathroom and you got to clean a bathroom, I'm going to clean it better.
That's
like,
powerful.
That's just how, that's the way my mom is too. That's the way I was raised in that same way. Like we had laminated pieces of paper that were chore lists that when we woke up on Saturday morning, we weren't allowed to do jack shit until our chores were done. And every single thing would be checked off on that list before. You had to clean the baseboards. You had to vacuum between the cracks on the floor. You had to Windex the windows. You had to dust everything. You had to vacuum everything. You had like everything had to be done. You had to clean the base of the toilet, the bathroom toilet, like you had the kitchen, the sink, like all that stuff. Like we cleaned the house because that's just what we had to do, One of the famous things I remember my dad saying when we were kids, we'd be outside like after a snowstorm and we had a big driveway and it sucked to have to shovel that. And I said to my dad one time, can you help us shovel? And he laughed at me and he said, I didn't have 4 kids so I could shovel snow.
I mean,
as a 34-year-old now, like about to be 34, man, that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely. Yep. If I had 4 kids, no way. Especially 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not shoveling snow. So smart. But that's why people have so many kids in the country, man. It's the chores.
Yeah. I mean, there are a litany of reasons why, but I'm sure chores are one of them. I've got 3 older
Not just
kids.
that it's fun, but
Yeah.
and you're bored half the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got three older ones, right? And when the little one, the smallest one, who's now 13, was little, they were the babysitters. So, I mean, you have enough where they can watch each other.
They become functional.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
hopefully.
Heck yeah.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Hopefully.
see, I hope, and not to do it as a detriment, but I look at like Paris Hilton, right? And I mean, it wasn't just that she was a kept person, but also, I mean, her dad was a kept person. The one who had and made the money was the grandfather, right?
Yeah.
So, and even she went down the route that she did, right? That just proves you can give a kid the world and it still go awry, right? So,
See, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, and the reasons why. In my perspective, it doesn't matter the life that you have, right? Like, I've been through some terrible shit in my life,
yeah.
and it's like the worst shit that I've ever experienced. You know what I mean? Put that right here, right? But then that same rich kid that's been given the world, but got a Camry instead of a Mercedes Benz, and that's like the worst thing that's ever happened to him. Those emotions are the same because it's the worst thing that's ever happened to them, and it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. But it doesn't matter. The situation can be removed, but the feelings for that person are the same. So the reactions as a human are going to be similar as in, with addictive personalities and things like that you're going to go down certain paths. So it doesn't matter what life you're given. They just have more means to have access to those destructive behaviors.
Yeah, fix it. Like throw some money at it. Like,
that's well, and access to higher quality train wreck supplies, I guess.
No, absolutely. But I love what you said. And especially nowadays, right, where people want to point fingers, like your political party, your belief system, you don't do this, you don't, and it's just like, but the emotions are the same, right? Everybody. I don't know anybody over the last year who hasn't experienced a loss, whether that be an actual person of COVID, maybe that might be a loss of what they're used to in terms of how they're used to operating, because there's long-term effects. They could lose their job.
Yeah.
You can lose a relationship because, hey, it was awesome when we were dating and I saw you a couple times a week, but now we're together for over a year and you're annoying to me,
Yeah, so, the way you chew makes me want to stab my own face.
Yeah.
And you didn't know that about somebody.
I'm that one.
I'm
that one. My wife just like, yeah,
Yeah.
For good reason, but I'm just saying. Life. Right?
Yeah, and that's with that like dichotomy. It's people that only focus on that stuff, and that's what I don't understand nowadays. Only like it's given everybody the perspective of only focusing on negative stuff. Like you say, you go to comment sections, you go to like they only focus on negative stuff and are resistant to changing things that are negative, I guess. You know what I mean? Like people are pointing out everything and I used to get involved in it. I would get sucked so hard into it. I'm an impulsive person, so one of the couple of things that I've learned to do in is just like I'll type something out and I'll just look at it and I'll just erase it and I won't post it. And it's just like, it may sound dumb, but like it's not worth it, man, because there's so many people with so much more time. Like, how lost do you get in this crap? And then these people like actually just sit with monsters and don't do anything and just drink, like, and just respond to people all day. And like, man, I got so much more time to do better stuff than get caught in these like hour-long conversations on Facebook about,
whatever the
dumb things.
Yeah.
So I tell people when they start to go down that route now, my new train of thought is just like, hey man, we clearly differ on this stuff, so let's just focus on the things that like we agree on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing.
Like,
For some reason, we forgot the ability, like, of all of the technological advancements, the amount of connections that we can make through social media and others, the fact we can work at home, theoretically speaking, but we forgot to respectfully disagree. Like, we can
Yeah.
disagree. It doesn't mean it's the fucking end all be all. It's not the fucking meteor crashing towards Earth. Like, you can
No.
do that. I can do this, and we can fucking go have a drink after. You might
Yeah.
have a
Like,
whiskey,
if
I might
there's,
have a water, and that's cool.
and that's it, right? Like, if that's the thing, that people only focus on the things that they, as soon as they find something that they differ on, they just want to argue about that all the time. And it's like, why don't you just remember why you were friends in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just saying. Fuck, man. But
Have a
I'm glad.
poutine.
Yes, and poutine. Fuck yeah. Curds only. Cheese curds only, right?
You can
Now,
go all in and throw some ground hamburger on there too. I'm just saying, not wrong. Little caramelized onion. Talk to me, baby.
yes, but I mean, Tyler, there have been so many people that have not just shared their poutine recipes with you, but people who have taken like an interest and stock of the rising company, that Fortune 500 company that is Tyler VanKill. So, my man, take as long as you like. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
All right, yeah. Obviously, everybody with Barret Submissions, like, they in the arena, everybody, that got me where I'm like, it just set me on the path. Obviously, Barret Yoshida, all the coaches that I had named previously, Charles, Vince, those guys that were in my corner. Jake Mapes was in my corner, all the time. They like really, really fostered me up, down there. Golden State Greens actually was a super good sponsor to me down there. They took care of me real well. They got me in High Rollers 1, got me all
I
down with
remember.
that.
I was there.
That was a pretty dope experience. Yeah, saw you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The arena, like I said, again, like nothing more I can say then. But a big part of my life now, honestly, has been in Kelowna here, and it's just been like amazing. I have a great support system here. Like Keith Saby is one of the dads here, and he's done so much here for the jiu-jitsu team alongside myself, trying to like really get everybody involved in it and everything. Obviously, here with Toshido MMA, like, and Coach Dave, like, it's changed like the whole trajectory of what I thought I was gonna do when I left San Diego. Was like just amplified with Coach Dave's help and tutelage and everything. Like, he's added another whole different level to my game that like kind of was there, but it was obviously like able to be there. But like everybody here, like Matt Dwyer, he's about to fight Elias Theodoro on that Rise card that I was telling you about. That's going to be a banger. It's like the top 2 Canadian middleweights going at it, and Dwyer's going to smash his face in. But he's been one of like my mainstay training partners here. Helped him get ready for some fights, and like I said, Steve McDonald before, he's held pads with me a bunch here and really crisped up my hands, and it's been amazing. Like, there's so many people, and like just on a broader perspective, everybody in my life, because like with the baby coming, everybody has chipped in. Like, there's nothing we need, and that's just like a love shout out to everybody. You know who you are if you're watching this. Like, so much stuff through the baby registry came in from all over the world, and it was just so insane, But yeah, as far as the fighting world goes, like Lake Country Judo as well. My judo coach, Kathy Hubble, she's a world champion in judo as well. I've just had world class training partners, world class coaches. Alex Trinidad at the arena, that Jordan Donay. Just the whole Jeff Creighton, there's so many all guys, just it's just, yeah, I don't know. there's so many people to say. I just get tongue tied here because like I don't want to feel like I'm missing anybody, but like the whole team here, Blake Sigvaldson, he's about to fight as well. Justin Doge, he's the heavyweight champ here. He's about to fight on BFL, which is now on Fight Pass. So
yes,
yeah, that's another good thing about this is there's potential for me to be able to fight on Fight Pass here. So everybody down south can see it as well, which would be pretty dope. Shout out to Epic Fighting, who gave me opportunities like I never thought I'd have. Like, Harvey Castellano, he really like, Harvey gave me the opportunity to fight for that belt. He really pushed for it. He saw the potential in me and just, pushed for those fights as well. Yeah, Mike Liera for giving me a home at the arena. Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to the missus, man, because
shout out to the missus. That's a given.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I talked her up enough.
It's never going to be enough. Put those deposits in. Literally,
that's what I'm saying. See, like I gaff on it. You say, "Oh, get the shout outs." You can't give me like.
There's literally a movie on Netflix that the start to the premise is somebody, the dude not thanking the girl for essentially all the work that they did at an award show. So we're not going to have that happen with you, good sir. Not at all. Not on my watch. Hell no.
She's a recent aunt. And Splurgio for the dope shirt.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Actually, what's funny is Alex. Oh, and another person, honestly, somebody that's been like hands down one of the dopest is Jojo Aguirre.
Yeah, Gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been huge, man. Both sides of the border. When I was in the States, whenever I was up here, like there's just certain people that come into your life and you just benefit from them. And there's been so many for me. I've just been lucky, Just be open to having good people in your life. My brother, he's such a good dude, and he's a strong, hard worker. He's a good family man. He's shown me how to be like, a good blueprint for being a really good dad and like just in that way, right? Like family man. And it's just dope to have good role models like that, So just so many, yeah, I got lucky that like you can, if like, that's what I meant earlier. If you can just push past crappy stuff and use it to motivate you and look at the positive parts of people and what they can positively add, man, you can reach anything.
Mm-hmm.
And just don't stop working hard.
Don't stop, won't stop. Not at all. Not at all. And
be willing to be punched in the face a couple of times every once in a while.
Shout out to Javon Coleman. We talked about it. And yes, you're black belt, not brown, but lucky to have met and fought Tyler. Really cool ass dude. No, 100%. You guys are both cool ass dudes. It's fights like yours. For me, it breaks my fucking heart because when I see my friends fight, like you.
That's the thing, right? And that's
right.
That's one thing. Like I'll never like. I don't even like. It's funny. I don't even really think about the other two guys that I fought or whatever, three guys that I fought really, other than like the fact that like the other guy was my first belt, but like fighting Javon, like it was one of those things where like it and he probably maybe feels the same because like you fought somebody you knew and not just knew but you were friends with, like it forced you to grow into a way that like I'm gonna have to punch my friend in the face right now for that title. And like he was willing to do the same to me. Like he came out like, bro, like it was weird too. It caught me off guard in that fight because like he came out and he just started blasting kicks at me. Like, fuck you. And I was like, yeah, like it got me a little amped up and I was just like, yeah, like threw a punch at him, like, cause like obviously we're both like more grappler type guys, but like he just like, let's do this. And he just started like whipping kicks at me and I was like, hell yeah, like. I think he hit me with two before I hit him back because I was just kind of like, did he just kick? It was funny, dude. Like the little talks you have in your head when you're in the cage that don't make sense, and you're like, "No, focus, bro." Like, yeah, he kicked you, hit him back. Oh, okay.
Yes, and facts, bro. That's how you treat a real friend. See?
Exactly. Kick that motherfucker in his face.
Yeah. that's how you've got to figure some shit out. Like one of my best friends, David Turner. Shout out to David. But I mean, we've been friends through like many relationships and marriages and all that stuff. But like we met, he was in the 10th grade. I was a senior, and I probably talked shit about his girlfriend at the time, which is weird of me now because I would never do such a thing. But I was an asshole as a kid, and I talked it, and he just fucking threw off his backpack, and we were going, and I was like, oh, okay, and whatever, and I can't remember how long a time it happened, but like we were both kind of fucking doubled over. And mind you, he has cardio and muscle for days because he was at the Inglewood High football team, and we just kind of fucking were doubled over like that. And fucking, we spent all of each other's fucking energy, and we're like, "You're cool. We're going to Burger King after." All right, and we've been friends ever since.
Hell yeah, man! That's
20 some odd years.
That's the best. Those are the best stories, man. Those are the tighter friends, man. Like some of my better friends were like, "Man, I don't think I liked you when I first met you," and I was like, "They never do."
That's it.
They never do.
This
but
is
I grow on you.
Yeah, but this is what it's cool for me, right? Because you were saying like, oh, you know, everything is cool until you get punched in the face, and you know, like you can never figure some shit out and whatever. Me, I figured it out pretty quick. I got punched in the face. Like I think my first like striking session was with James the Beast Wilson, whose fucking knockout highlight reel is like 3 minutes long on YouTube with like 4 million hits on it and shit like that. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I still want to be involved. I just don't want to do that. I'll grapple. Yeah. Like I still want to, I want my purple belt just so I can go to Naga and fucking have a gold belt like fucking Bret Hart did all those years ago. Right. But I'm like, I'm cool doing this. You can say like, you're not the best podcaster. Cool. Fine. That's great. Cool. I don't want to fight you. Fuck that.
No. It's like somebody was talking shit to, I forgot the fighter real quick. But he's like, yeah, I bet you wouldn't say that to my face. And he's like, nope, that's why I said it on Twitter.
Yes. 10 points. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's like, would you say that to my face? And he's like, no, you'd beat me up. That's why I said it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, you end up like that asshole that was on YouTube that was beating the shit out of people. Like, he would just go and then he fucking started firing off. And then he met fucking dude out of Vegas. Why am I fucking blanking on his name? But
it was that 16-year-old kid or whatever, and he got
he's fought for CXF. He's fought on the local scene. He's out there and like you know, so but yeah, it's like that. It's just like you're a badass until you fucking beat a badass bigger than you. And that's kind of a parable in life, right? There's always, you can't go for richer, right? You can't go for healthier. You can't, because there's always going to be somebody richer, smarter, healthier, more good looking, whatever. If you rely on a fucking gimmick, like you're like, I'm just a grappler who fights, just like you and Javon, right? You guys get it could have been Grapple Fest, you know, fucking epic for the epic title, but he fucking kicks you in the leg and like, oh fuck, I guess we're going. We're fucking going.
Yeah. It was great, man. It was great. Like just that first moment, and then you kind of like zone in, and then I mean, obviously it did become a grappling match.
Which, it did.
You know, it
did. I like grappling, so I ain't mad at it.
So do I. I love it. I also like punching people in the face. That's why I was so excited. You know, and that was one of the things that I was excited about. You know, the potential of fighting him too. The other like deeper part of it is that when you're fighting someone that you know is going to show up, there's a calmness to that where you can actually prepare. It's more nerve-wracking to me wondering if that person's actually going to show up than if they are going to show up. I'm happy if they show up because I'm not afraid to get like in a fight. I've been in a fight my whole life. I'm getting paid. Like,
yeah.
So that's where it's like the comfort come with that, where it's like, you know, I know, you know, even though I didn't make the poster.
Yeah. I actually have one of those here somewhere where
I know.
yeah, it was the funny thing. Okay, truth be told, right? Harvey
Every
Harvey
other
was like,
title fight
"Hey,
had both people on it,
yeah,
and
okay,
this one
so
had just Javon.
here's my story. Harvey was just like, oh, I think it was like Harvey and Nick and Nicole, right, of Epic, and they're like, hey, no, it was Nicole for sure. It was Nicole, and she was just like, hey, we need some of these passed out because we've got like 3 boxes of them. So do you want to do it? And I was like, I guess. I drove all the way from LA to San Diego. Fuck, I got fuck
Might
all
as
to do
well.
but
I
sleep.
want to be involved.
Yeah, so I went to like the Best Buy and the Fry's like down the road and was fucking leaving them on people's fucking like windshields, and then like I could feel like security kind of fucking whatever, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this is not a good look for a dark skinned jet like
No.
me. So I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
I'm about to leave.
Yeah, so that's it. So sorry to all parties involved. I still have a box of them still. 4 years later.
That's awesome.
Shit, bro. But obviously, you are somebody that is, I mean, doing big things and a bit of positive energy to all those who shoot you positivity back. So for those to want to get into the positive energy that is Tyler VanKill, where can they find you, good sir, on social media?
Typically on Instagram, SquidViciousBJJ, and that's where I post most things. Usually do videos and stuff. It's just, things that would never work in jiu-jitsu, but they do. Yeah. But yeah, basically on Instagram is where I hang out. Tyler VanKill is my name. You could probably look it up on Facebook as well, but typically for content it would be Instagram. Yeah, I don't really do Twitter. I should though. I don't understand it.
I neither did I, but I mean, obviously, like the pandemic happened and shit like that, and I grew like my Twitter followers to like 300 more than I had before, so I'm like closing in on like 500 and shit like that. I just don't want anybody to fucking take, like, there's an According to Woods TikTok, there's an According to Woods fucking Chapsnat or whatever the fuck, I can't even remember, the Book of Faces and everything like that. I just don't want anybody to take it, whatever, and be like fucking Jim Ross, right? When Jim Ross, a Hall of Fame announcer, he had to be like JRS BBQ. He couldn't be Jim Ross. He had to be JRS BBQ because somebody saw Jim Ross doing that shit and they fucking took it.
Yeah. I got the name that I wanted, but for me, I think I'm too impulsive. So I would say shit and then it would get screenshotted and used against me. And then it would be bad. That happens all the time. And I know people would say, just don't say stupid shit. It's not as easy as you may think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it. That's why for me, I always, if you can heart on fucking Instagram, you heart everything, right? Yeah. So that's what I do. It's just like, you seem like you need a little bit of love. I'm just gonna fucking throw a heart on it and get the fuck out. That's all I do. I
do it all the time too, and that's what I mean. Like, I don't even understand most of it. I'm not that smart with that kind of stuff. Like, I've figured it out, but then they change it, and then I don't know. I got to figure it out again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's fucking the way of the world, bro. I'm just saying. I'm right there with you. Fuck. I mean, like, literally, the only reason why this fucking podcast exists is because this StreamYard thing that I use posts to the Facebook and the YouTube and the fucking Twitch. Otherwise,
so just one button does everything. That's what I'm in for. See what I'm saying?
Start a podcast. Why the fuck not? I'm just saying. I'll teach you. I'll show you. Oh, fuck it. If not for the fucking, the Keyboard Warriors and MMA Storytime having me on their podcast and they're like, hey, Woods, we're doing this shit. You should too. This podcast would not exist because it's never been easier. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we should start up a dual podcast. Canadian in the Woods.
Fuck yeah! Hell yes! We already got Voodoo in the Woods with fucking Payo Sanila Lobo, former U of MMA champion. Let's fucking expand this fucking brand. Fuck yeah! Canadian in the Woods. I was a former fake Canadian, and you're a real Canadian. Fuck
That's
it,
what
let's
I'm
do this.
saying.
Let's do this shit, bro. That's what I'm saying. So this might not even be fucking According to Woods episode 300 and some odd or whatever.
This is Canada in the.
I'm just saying. Fuck yeah. There can only be one. Fuck yeah. But go ahead and follow him. Tyler, start a fucking podcast, says Terry Beaton. Terry, we're with you, Terry. You're right here with us. So shout out to Terry. So yeah,
Terry's
this might be episode one of Canadian
yeah.
in the Woods. Fuck yeah. I'm just
I
saying.
I like it.
Go ahead and follow him, Squidvicious BJJ on Instagram, and some other shit that I'm going to convince him to do, because that's what I do. That's what I fucking do. But Tyler, you are always awesome. Thank you for doing this. Thank you guys for joining us
Thanks for having me, bro.
Oh, always. No, thank you for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I mean, Tyler, you're subscribed, right?
Hell yeah.
Damn right he is. Yeah, so be like Tyler. Be like me.
Yeah.
We're subscribed. You should too. But if you don't believe us, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's Pro Wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe.